Welcome to hand care. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about what we do for our hands, how we prepare them for swinging, snatching, and stuff, and how we take care of them afterwards.
This is the main tool that we use, this Tweezerman callus shaver that I think is meant for feet, but we don't use it for that. We use it for hands.
Hands and feet.
We'll tell you about that after this. If you use chalk for your ballistics and your lifting, you might find that your hands get dry. Do you find that?
Yeah, big time.
So what we like to use is this. It's called Pawpaw.
Oh,
Shelby.
no, she actually likes Pawpaw.
She does. It's fresh fermented papaya from Australia.
Fresh and fermented doesn't seem like that.
Fresh
Seems like it
fermented.
contradicts each other.
Anyway, it's an ointment.
Okay.
And it's amazing stuff. This is a brand new jar and it looks like this.
It smells pretty good too.
Yeah, it smells pretty good.
I like what they say it's for. A local topical application for boils, burns, chafing cuts, cracked skin, gravel rash, splinters, open wounds, insect bites, and nappy rash. And we will also add for
ballistics hands.
Ballistics hands, there we go.
We use this basically every night before bed. We brush our teeth and then put on a little bit of Pawpaws and then go to sleep.
And a little excess for my
And he uses it for his lips as well.
So we use that stuff, and we recently got some of this sent in the mail.
We got it as a free sample from this company, Gear Grips.
Yep. And it's pretty good. It smells, it's got a nice
It's
scent.
called Prevent.
Yeah.
And it smells minty and delicious, actually. And we like it. It says everyday hand care for kettlebell training.
It's basically just oil and
it's
wax.
like
and
it could
it's
be
good
used
for-
like this.
Exactly.
I think this one doesn't stay on as long because it's not like an ointment. It's more like a coconut oil with other stuff in it.
Yeah.
So I'll use that like more during the day. Whereas this, I don't want to touch stuff after I use this because
Yeah,
it's
you
like
want it
all
to
greasy.
just like absorb into your skin.
What might be going wrong if they're getting a bunch of blisters and rips?
Well, there can be a lot of things. So the weight could definitely be too heavy. That's a very good indicator that it's just going to cause problems on your hands. But it could just be too heavy for the day.
Or it could be really humid.
Or it could be really humid. See, there's a lot of things that are going on. So during the summertime, my snatch volume is significantly less than when it's colder because my hands right now are sweaty. You want to feel them?
No,
Okay.
I know.
They're sweaty right now. So when I do anything that makes the rest of me really sweaty, this just goes to town. So I'm covered in chalk, and all of that, along with the extra moisture, is just not so good for ballistics. So anyways, I can only do a certain amount before it starts to cause issues with my hands.
I don't lower my snatch volume in the summer. I mean, I might lower it but not because it's sweatier. I don't have that problem. Although both of our hands get hotter, as like we like to describe them in the summer, faster, and they start to feel hot. What's another way of saying that? Like how, if someone's not sure if their hands feel hot.
If it feels like it's pulling, or like maybe before a blister is
Maybe
coming
like
on.
there's a blister brewing or
Yeah.
something. Check it maybe after each set, I would say, and stop before you actually tear.
Or get a blister.
Or get a blister.
Blisters are still not good.
Blister will equal tearing at some point, or it'll, like sometimes they're okay, like they're not too big of a deal.
Yeah, there's like different levels of blisters. There's really like thin ones that are very high, like close to the surface of the
Just
skin,
like
where
top skin.
you can see like this little mark here was a very, very shallow blister, and I wasn't worried about it. It's just like a thin layer of skin that came off. Whereas
The ones you want to worry about are more like this.
like this down here, and I had like a crack and a blister right
blister
there
and
at the same time.
Those ones tend to be underneath your callus, and then sometimes if those get bad, they will pop and then they'll like rip your callus off, which is like the worst.
That's the worst.
Then you'd have to take time off of training or like try to tape your hand up or whatever. But basically our approach is just to try to avoid tearing your hands at all costs. I don't know. He normally doesn't tear his hands, so I don't know. This is not a good time to make this video because it's not.
These weren't very bad, so I wasn't too worried about it.
All right, well, I'm just saying we prefer the approach of like try to stop before you're going to tear your hands.
Yep.
So that you don't have to deal with all that stuff. Then the other thing is just like other adaptations in your body with strength training, your hands need time to adjust to what you're gonna do. So, you know, if I've taken like a couple weeks off of snatching or swinging or more than a couple weeks, I'm gonna be conservative with the weight when I go back to it, just to like get my body back into doing the thing, but also because I know my hands they get a little less conditioned over time. So I'm not gonna just assume just because I've snatched whatever 28 or 32 kilos that I can any day pick that up and be fine and not rip my hands. I gotta make sure I'm like really conditioned. Like my whole body, including my hands, are very conditioned for what I'm about to do. So that takes patience, and it's not always like the sexiest thing if you're like, oh, I feel like going really heavy. One thing that's cool that we've started using more with snatches in particular is using double snatches. So you're still going heavy with the overall load, but it's lighter on your hands.
Especially like going back to sweaty people like me in the summertime, snatching heavy right now is just not so great for me. But I can go heavier, like Holly just said, on the overall load on my body, but what's in my hands is significantly lighter. So I can do a lot more work than if it was just one weight at the same amount of weight. So if I was snatching 40 kilos here or a pair of 20s, both in my hands here, on my hands, it's absolutely nothing. So that's a tactic that we like to use.
And you could do that for double swings too, instead of like a two-handed swing. Totally. Or a one-arm swing.
Cleans too.
Cleans too.
Yep, any of those things.
Yep. What are other hand care tips that we have? Grip. Like some people over grip.
Yeah, gripping for sure. You want, which is challenging because it comes down to the skill of the movement.
And grip strength.
And grip strength, yeah. So one of the hardest things for people is relaxing at the right time while they're moving, especially like during snatches or cleans, because you want to have an open grip pretty much while the bell is traveling in this range right here. If you watch like a slow motion video of people who are really good at snatching, you'll see that their hand is completely open because their hips did the work to get the weight up. It's not like this, but their hand is relaxed.
You can't see that if you're watching a slow-mo video. That's what I'm saying.
Did we just fuck up this whole video?
No, we're gonna cut it out. Okay. Or we're gonna they're gonna watch this. Next up, we're gonna show you how we both use this thing to take care of our hands. Hope you find this helpful. If you do, like and subscribe and all that stuff everywhere here. Cool, thanks.
So this is how I shave my hands. I like to use this callus shaver with the blade. It has the rough part here, the file type thing. Not into it. I think it's too much friction on my calluses, and with the blade I feel like I can do that right before I do my snatches or just ballistics in general. So use the blade, and for me I have super sweaty hands, so I have to chalk my calluses up a little bit before I go and trim them down, because if I don't and there's moisture on my hands, it just slides across and nothing happens. Again, a little bit of chalk, rub it in there. I want it very dry, and then you can see where the skin's coming off, and I just go very light.
Can you just like chill for a second so I can see? Okay.
Yeah. See that?
Okay,
there?
good.
And I'm just trying to make it really smooth. I don't want anything to stick up a lot. And I'm mostly coming from the bottom because the kettlebell will be here pushing up towards it. But if I have extra on the top side, I still get that off. So it's much smoother here. And because we keep the kettlebells in our palms for the most part, these are the bulk of our calluses. But we still get a little bit up here in the fingers. So these I take care of less than down here, but still I need to occasionally hit them. So again, very lightly, and I just take off just a little bit of skin there. And that's how it's done.
So how I do it is very different than Aaron. I take the blade that is in that callus shaver and I just take it out and I do it manually. So I don't need any chalk. People think it's scary maybe, but whatever. So all I do, I just go like this and I just scrape it gently. I try not to have too much of an angle. If I have too much of an angle like this, then I might dig in too far, which I have done before, but not too bad. So this is what it looks like. I only do this about once a week, but Aaron does it every time before he does ballistics. So I don't know if you can see the difference between here and here, but I'm just taking off. I just want to make it so that there's less to pinch, but I still have quite a bit of callus. So again, oh yeah, this one shows you better. This is what I do. Sometimes I break the blade. Like the last time I did this, I broke it, but that's okay. All right, so sometimes it's a little rough like this, and then after that I might maybe take the little cheese grater side of the callus shaver to it, but I generally don't. I'm usually like, oh, that's good. And then I do the middle ones too. This one is harder to get this way, but this one is usually all right. So just make sure to stay more flat and just get off a little bit, and then I won't pinch. And I haven't had a tear in a really long time.